Starting. Alrighty. Hey Megan, how you doing? It's episode 34. We'll just start again.
I'm not.
You're not too bad. How are you feeling? You were ill last week.
I'm still ill. I think I probably should have stayed home yesterday. I'd gone out and went to a softball tournament for my nephew, as well as attending a B&M opening for HB Vapor in Palmerston North. So yeah, I think I kind of overexerted myself and kind of made things that I thought were fine not so fine. That's how I'm feeling. What about yourself? How are you doing?
A little bit frazzled with some personal drama going on. Yeah, we've had earthquakes, tsunamis, illness. The show's been a little bit delayed, so let's hopefully we can manage to turn up on YouTube for a start and get the show out there that we've been trying to have a chat about for a couple of weeks. So, yay! YouTube is going green. So let's just keep rolling, honey. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna start on a wee little spiel, and then we can rock over to your little spiel, Megan. Oh, that's right. I put a battery in that. Where's my juice at? There's been a lot of people always interested in mechs. All types of mechs, mechanical, single and dual, triple, quad. It goes on and on. Sorry, excuse me. Just like with everything in life and in lifestyles and in hobbies and in society, there goes ebbs and flows and phases and the latest hot thing and what's the word I want? Trends. They go in trends. And it seems that mechs are on the trend again. And everybody is not so much getting into them, but getting back into them. Because a lot of us started out with mechs in the beginning of our journey, didn't we, Megan? Albeit mechs are always there daily, but you know, like a revival of the tube per se. What do you reckon, Megan?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like how it's worked out. Like you say, like in regards to like trends, for example. When box mods started coming out, like everyone was getting box mods. And there's just an influx of different kinds that were available on the market, whether they were unregulated or regulated. And then the technology and stuff had changed within inside them. So some of the semi-unregulated devices, like it's much like my Drippin' Dolls box, which is a PWM series box mod. So you're getting things like that, and it's interesting. It's funny, like how trends sort of like come in, and then it's like as if it's gotten to the point where people are kind of over well, not so much over the box mods, but it's like they've kind of reverted back to the traditional tube mods. I mean, I wouldn't say that most people started on a mech mod. I mean, when you start on like vaping, you get like those the little vape pens, the little egos to sort of get yourself started, and then you eventually kind of build your way up to like the mechanicals. But yeah, there are not many people that jump straight into the mechanical sense, I guess, from the very start.
Well, there are a few of them out there like ourselves. Not many though. Yeah. Those that did get into mechs, right from the beginning. Alright, well it looks like our feed's good, honey, or at least no complaints so far. Yeah, we won't launch straight in it just yet. Okay, so aside from things that you might have out, like myself, that we're going to show and tell amongst our own collections today, what are you vaping on, Megan?
Well, because I've been unwound all of last week and kind of creeping into this week, I've just been using 2 setups. So the one that I currently had been vaping on a little bit. So it's just the limitless box with the black goon on there. And I actually don't have a mega coil in here. Coils I've got running on this thing are actually Squid Dude coils, which is probably the first time I've ever used coils made by somebody else. And the other device that I'm using is the IKEA. The IKEA is the other one that I'm using. When I get to a point, I kind of either can't taste anything or my throat is kind of bugging me a little bit. Yeah, I've got some of Thomas's Redux in here. Renaissance e-liquids Redux. The bottle is right here. So it just looks like a white label until I get it close to focus. There we go. A little bit of Redux in the IKEA, and on the bigger setup, I'm working on watermelon juice by Just Eat Juice. I don't have much of this left. Focus. Come on. There we go. Watermelon juice by Just Eat Juice. So that's what I'm rocking on that one at present. What about yourself, Marks? What are you vaping on?
Right this second. Okay, so I'm having a party this coming weekend, and I've got a house inspection coming up. So there's been lots of things in my house being rearranged. I'm starting to put away the 1,000,001 things that you guys can't see that lives on this desk. So that includes migrating all the empty bottles that sort of congregate in a pile, you know, the ones. I did that last night. So I've pulled out a whole lot of older juice in my collection out of the fridge. And I'm vaping on an old favourite on my cotton candy Able. Just got a basic plain wrap bitch build in it. What's that? 7 wrap at a guess without counting. And I am vaping on Viking Split, which is long white vapor. One of hang on, word this right, older vendors in the country, longer standing vendors, been operating longer. Is that the right way to say it? Been around longer. He sells his juice overseas as well, so he's an old fave. The juice and the vendor, of course. What else have I got here that I'm going to vape on? I have had a bit of drama today, so I'm not really prepared buffet style. I do have, what do we got? Have I got cotton in that? I've got cotton in that one, so I will put a battery in my recoil on my Where's the logo? There it is. Ooh, I love that logo. I love the rune. And when I line it up, hang on, I'll just do the line up. Bloody hell, the holes don't line. The ear holes don't line up. But doing the old Instagram pose. Booyah! So in that I have, what's on that cotton? I am going to vape some. Oh, look at that. I've got a smidge left. Let's empty some more bottles. I've got a smidge left of some Monkey Dragon from Marky as well. Some Just E juice. I'll put that one on my recoil. Put them together. Because, yeah, I pulled out some old juice that I need to empty some bottles out. Clean everything out. What else we got? I got some fruit bowl from ACC juice. Hang on. Spelt that way. No, the original label isn't on this bottle because I have filled up a 100ml bottle down from a 250, so I've written on the bottle. So that one's fruit bowl from ACC Juice, which is an Australian vendor. And I'm going to have him, which I don't have a battery in yet, but I will in a second. Hang on, did my pretty line it up? Better line it up. That. Timekeeper with the goon. Oh, that does look pretty like that. Yeah, the old hand with the Instagram. I haven't done an IG post in a few days, actually. Apologies to the friends and fams and loves and vape fam and out in chat who I haven't posted on IG recently. I do have some photos though. I've got to get onto it. I've got new builds and a whole lot of stuff. We'll get to the hellos and how you doing to everybody up chat in a second. I think that's all I'm going to vape on. I'm just going to have those 3 running. And the others will just be all show and tell. Because I've got a bit of gear on the table with me right now. So we'll roll with that one. That's what I'm vaping on today. The Timekeeper, the V-God, and the Able. There we go. How's that appropriate for the show, Megan?
It's very appropriate. Had I not gotten sick, I probably would have done a few builds for my mix, but no.
I've rebuilt a few earlier.
Myself.
Yeah, well, you've been sick. You're allowed to just like rest up and not do much, honey. And you've had other stuff going on, so you know you don't have to build all the time. All right, who we got out in chat? Let's say hello to a few people because I feel like we're rambling to ourselves a little bit. What's up to Cam and Thomas? First and foremost, the boys out there in the chat, I spy you both. Greg, Fresh. Oh my god, I'm gonna get tongue tied now. Who we got there? Rob, Church, Jay, Reese. Oh, Jax. Loves to everybody. Who else is hanging? Hey Vape Man, how you doing today? What is it? It's Sunday night over in the States, Canada. Getting cooler too on the winter. Not feeling particularly summery here today. I don't know about where you are, Megan. It was raining here yesterday. Donnie, how you doing, honey?
It's actually.
It's what?
It's quite nice here. I mean, there is a bit of a breeze, but yeah, it's nice and blue out there. And, yeah, I haven't really actually stepped outside because, like I mentioned, when I woke up this morning, I feel the flash. So I stayed inside. I've got like a wee stream of light just coming through. You can kind of see like there's a patch here on my arm. So yeah, it's nice.
Cool. I've got there's a bit of blue sky out there. It's just not very summery, warm temperature wise. Okay, so apologies. The usual is going on. It appears that YouTube isn't getting too much interaction from our stream. We'll just see how that rolls, and yeah, cross fingers as always for the what's the word I want? Stability of me and Megan's connection as well. Megan and I, sorry Phil, that's the first one. Haven't done it in a while. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done a show, Megan, so it feels a little strange. All right, honey, let's get into this flow. I know that the stream itself might be a little bit dicky. But we will keep recording because, as we know, it does upload eventually, and y'all can come back and watch the replay. As much as we love our live interaction in that chat, yeah, the info we've got isn't going anywhere, and you can easily absorb it also from the replay, catching up on everything later if it goes all blah and you give up watching. Sorry guys if it does. Bad streams are never fun. Okay, so yeah, where do we want to start, honey? We'll get into this. Any links we talk about as well, I'll put down in the description later. And we're gonna do some imagery. We'll show some imagery and some bits and pieces that we're gonna talk about as well. So apologies if the stream goes dumb, like it does sometimes. And if you hang out, great. If you don't, I don't blame you. Thanks for coming, but I don't blame you. So yeah, we'll just see how everything's going. Hey Jackie, I see you out there in chat. How you doing? Alrighty. Oh, this lag is worrying me now.
No.
Right. Can you hear me all right, Mex? We're all good?
before I just did like a quick adapter reset because it was glitching really, really badly, and I just assumed it was my end.
Okay, that's possible. All right, where should we start, honey? Like I say, this show's been postponed a couple of weeks, so the original plans and things we had laid out sort of gone lost on the AWOL by it being postponed. Let's just launch right in. Single 18650 tube mix. Oh, actually, do you want to do your little spiel there that you got, darling? I'll let you take a bit of lead today because I like your vaping journey, how you started out with things. I do like it.
My vaping journey. Might as well launch into like my journey into vaping, so then that way it'll give people an idea who don't know how I sort of went about it. I mean, unlike most people that are within the vaping community, most people have started vaping to quit smoking, which is awesome. I, on the other hand, I wasn't a smoker when I started. But at the same time, like when I did it, I mean, my one was purely, I'm going to end up jumping all over the place if I don't make sure I get this in the right order.
A lot of our info will be jumping all over the place today in context to our own stories and information and how we are, where we are, and the info we know, honey. So just ramble away, because you guys, if you're regular viewers, you know how we work, and rambling and winging it is the best way we roll. So off you go, love.
So like I mentioned, so I was a non-smoker when I started vaping. However, I grew up around smokers. Both my parents smoked. My father no longer does. My mum still does. My father, on the other hand, he's a vapor, just like I am. So it's awesome. It means that I have someone that I have direct contact with, where I can actually talk to somebody like face to face, like in physical presence about vaping. Yeah, I kind of got him into it. But before I actually had started vaping, I did a lot of research. Because the main reason as to why I didn't smoke was because I have chronic asthma. And smoking cigarette smoke would trigger it every time. So I had to avoid it as best as I possibly could. So when I'd come across vaping, it was because I kind of dabbled a wee bit in using a hookah and shisha and stuff like that, and I wanted something that was more along the portable lines of it. And I think someone had kind of directed me or had told me to look into electronic cigarettes. And I wanted something that looked like a cigarette. And they said, oh no, there's a whole bunch of different products out there with like different flavored liquids that you can purchase for it. So I started looking into it and considered getting a beginner setup, like a little ego setup thing. And I decided that no, if I got this beginner kit, that I would probably want to upgrade, and possibly quite quickly. So I did a bit more research, and then my first vape setup mod and an RDA. So my first Mech mod was a Nemesis mod. I mean, this is a clone. I didn't want to be dropping a whole lot of money when I got it. So the clone kind of went in that regard, as well as my clone RDA, which was a Mutation X version 2, which I still kind of had, but it's munted now. The positive post on it just spins, and it's quite annoying. So I haven't used it since I started doing that. But yeah, in terms of like my research before I actually picked up that setup, is that I had to ensure that I knew what I was getting myself into and that I was using it correctly. And I did that by doing a lot of research on battery safety and trying to understand Ohm's law. Because I didn't want to do this wrong. I didn't want to mess it up, and I didn't want anything bad to happen to me. So research was key in my vaping journey, especially when it came to me starting. And yeah, even though I've been vaping for nearly 2 years, I'm still learning a lot. The battery safety side of things and the Ohm's law, I've pretty much got that down pat. Like I've got a very good understanding of it, and that I can actually do my build and ensure that I'm vaping them safely, and with the appropriate batteries and everything. The community as a whole, when I had joined the Facebook groups, have been extremely, and they just helped to solidify what I'd learned, and it was really, really good. I can quite confidently put a build on a Mech mod and not have to worry so much about it. I do have to say, in the beginning, I was a little bit nervous when I went to take my first draw, but once I'd gotten past the nerves, it became really easy. Is there anything else that I need to elaborate on that? Just trying to think.
No, I think that's sort of good for the intro. I mean, like, we've both got different journeys. I just realised while you were talking, though, I never talk about my journey. I never tell people how I got into vaping, like my actual story behind it and stuff. But I'm not necessarily going to right now either, because it sort of tangents off a bit. But yeah, I just sort of had that realisation. Both of us have info though, well learned in the Mech world, Mech lifestyle. I don't know the way to word that. Sorry, I'm just cleaning up some juice under my RDAs on my VGod. It's getting a bit sticky up on there. Okay, so yeah, we'll start with Mech tubes. I'm just putting a bat into my VGod right now. So my able and my VGod, I'm gonna pick a topic, Megan, and we'll launch into it this way.
Okay.
Well, I think it's a good place to start for single tubes, personally, and it'll roll with that info anyway. Hang on, just clean up a bit of juice. So my able is the same, timekeeper also. So all three mods that I am vaping on today, I don't know about my focus, are hybrid. Can you all see that? That is the top of my battery in view right there. So there are two types of mechs. Single bat mechs. Hybrid and 510 connector.
I'll show it. Hybrid top cap on my one because it's like I've taken it off.
You so do that, and Cam. Megan's got the good camera with her lovely autofocus and amazingness as well. So we'll both be doing a bit of show and tell. But yeah, go ahead, honey. Which one's that? Aria, did you say?
The Aria standard. So I figured it's like, what the heck? Might as well like give it a tell. It's a little bit patinaed and I need to give it like a polish, but yeah, I got this from Cam. And this is a hybrid top cap, so I'll just take the top cap off so you can kind of show. So when the addy gets put into there, you can face just through it. So when you put an addy on there, the addy's going to come into direct contact with the battery. So that's a hybrid. And using like your hybrid top cap mods, you need to ensure that you're also using an addy that has a protruding 510 pin. I'm going to grab that's the recoil. we've got the recoil here. Once it focuses.
Which
Yeah,
is the
there we go.
recoil in
And
my hand as well.
bottom, focus, not on me. Yes. I'm trying not to laugh now. Come on, baby. Yeah. So the 510 pin, or the little piece like sticking right out the bottom, is the protruding part of the addy, and that's safe to use. If the pin, I'm just trying to go off what the boys had said on their show. So the so the whole pin itself, before the little pin that pops out the bottom, which is the positive part, is negative. So if your positive pin that isn't protruding and it's sitting flush with the negative part of it, it's going to come into contact with that battery and cause hard short. So we want to avoid that because we don't want things going boom.
Oh, that's crackling.
I mean, when I first started getting into meat mods, I kind of avoided hybrids until I was absolutely certain that I was comfortable with using them. And yeah, I always have that cautionary side of me, that's much, much higher than my just do it, man, just do it. Do it. And yeah, so the cautious side of me always is much louder than the one that just tells me to just go for it. So with my Nemesis has a 510 connection. So there's no direct contact with the addy. It connects through that pin, which has a positive connection at the bottom, which comes into contact with my battery. Yeah,
I was just doing like.
Kind of acts like a.
And then that's the piece that. Hang on. And there we go. So you would extend a piece on the end of it. Now my focus on my camera is shit, but hopefully you can see that against my hand. You would extend a piece, and then that's how you would adjust for any battery adjustments so that you don't have rattle.
Just for that battery rattle.
This particular top, because some of y'all might not have seen it if you're new to watching our show, and I don't think I've used it on the show actually since I got it. Oh, hang on, I've got to find the thread and go and get the cap back on. This one is my Tree of Life. And so, yeah, that is a 510 mod. I'm looking at the screen and not at the actual camera, so I can get your angles right. And then that one also on it has, oh, hang on, unscrew it. It's got a locking ring on it, this one, which I really like a good locking ring on some mods. It's a spring button, that one. So yeah, it's got a little locking ring there in the center. Oh, please excuse my gaudy fingernails. Cool.
Yeah, my Nemesis used to be a spring firing pin, and then I upgraded it and got magnets for it.
I've got a mix of magnets and
so much better.
How's our feed going? Oh, I'm sorry, people, and apologise that we're not terribly looking at chat. I just want to throw a shout out to Yeti, though. I saw you walk in, honey. And I thought I fixed this echo. What's going on here? Oh, where's my chat not catching up? What's going on? Yeah, where was this? How are we coming through? Anyway.
YouTube.
Yeah, I thought I fixed the echo, and then Tom said you were echoing hard. So yeah, two types of single tube mods with the hybrid and the 510. So I say two types as in top cap's not the right word. Top end of the mod connection, your connection end. However, there's also two types with the button end with your spring and your magnets also. So you know you can, and of course everything's most things are customizable, chop and change between hardware items like Megan said with their Nemesis before, upgrading buttons from spring to magnet. I'm not so sure about upgrading top ends from 510 to hybrid. Maybe some companies do that. I'm not quite sure.
Some mods can come with either or. So you can have like one where you can have like the 510 connection, or you can have the hybrid. But it's switching them out.
Yeah, not every company will offer something like that. The 510 connection end, if it wasn't already clear, is the safer option of the two. Just to put it, and probably from bits of information that we'll talk about today, I'll probably like just reiterate it with like real basic layman terms like that. It is the safer if you're going to get into mechs, if you're still learning Ohm's law, if you're still getting into battery safety, if you're still researching and at your beginner journey with mech mods, the 510 connection is the safer of the two because it has the insulator between you and the battery, as in the RDA and the battery. Yeah, what's in your little spiel there, Megan? Where do you want to move to next?
We pretty much covered the hybrid versus the 510, covered the safety of it. I suppose you can like touch on like the maintenance mods.
Cross fingers
So, like,
for
with
your
mods,
net. You're starting to go a bit glitchy. Cross fingers for your net. Maybe that's why the stream's being blur. Just it is that time of the day, I suppose. I just caught Greg's comment in the chat box. So just to add to that, because Greg's comment, he likes it when I look over my glasses at the screen when I'm reading chat, but it looks like I'm looking at you guys. My glasses are sitting like this, just for elaboration, so as not to get too much glare when I'm moving my head off my laptop screen. It is not to look like the teacher at the front of the class type. No, hang on. What was the other thing I got called the other day? The librarian. The librarian. Really? Really? No, it's trying to minimize glare for the recording for you guys.
Sorry, the little noises there. I'm just replacing some batteries.
Alright, I'll try and speak up louder because I've actually turned my microphone down a bit so as not to try and pick up Megan on my speakers so much. So I will just tell me I need to speak up, guys. I will just try and keep my volume up a little bit. I am aware I can mumble sometimes, so noted. Sorry, Megan, where were we?
Mod maintenance.
Mod maintenance. Alright, darling.
Keep your mod clean. By clean, I'm not just meaning just the outer part of it. I'm talking about the connections and everything. Keep it all clean. Mistake it and build upon it. It's going to restrict the amount of conductivity between your mod and your battery. So by keeping your contacts nice and clean and free from any debris or arcing build-up, it's the longevity of your mod, and yeah, you still have that enjoyable vape from start to finish. Is that even the right sort of thing, start to finish?
Yeah, well, yes and no. Okay, so to elaborate on that slightly, Megan is talking about things like if you're gonna indulge in mechs and have a wee little collection, like both of us do. There's small, medium, large. There are many people that have different sizes of collections. Clones authentics are relevant. We're not going to go into that war. We will touch on it shortly, but irrelevant of what your collection is made up of. So you want auto soul or some sort of similar metal polish product. Whether it be for brass mods or copper mods, or if you just like to keep your silver ones shiny, whether they be stainless or aluminium also. And then, so then you're going to come down to your preference of cloth you like to clean with, and you're going to want your dirty cloth that you put the liquid, your cleaner on, and then you're going to want your buffing cloths if you like your shiny polish going on. Cotton buds also might be something you want to have in your maintenance kit because your threads can get really dirty. Megan, should we pull a button apart? You've got the better camera of the two of us. Do you want to pull a button apart and just show people the metal parts of the contacting of where we need to be keeping clean? Where you need to be aware of on your mod has metal contact conducting that electricity from the battery to give you your vape. Now, it might be getting a little bit too technical in some aspects for many, and especially if you're a beginner, you know, like both Megan and myself have been vaping for a while now. Mechs, rigs are relevant. We've got a little, you know, the life experience, and of course you adapt habits, rituals, little OCD afflictions of how you like to keep your own gear. And some people are more OCD about cleanliness than others. You know, there are vapors right across the board. But even if you are that trying to use the right word without offending anybody, because we are all different types of vapors. Hopefully it doesn't offend a lazier vapor and you don't clean often or regularly. No, you should, but you don't quite get round to it. You know, there's plenty of people out there like that. Or if you clean your mod, you might just do your liquid polish on the exterior and forget about your threads and your button. Please don't, because that's where your electricity is contacting. That pretty on the outside, yeah, it's great, awesome, keeping your shit clean, but that's aesthetics on the outside. How are you going there, Megs? So there's little parts within your button, and so when you get a mod or you're looking into buying a mod, review. Even if you're looking at Fast Tech, if you're looking at 3F, if you're looking at Focal eSig, any 1 million Chinese clone sites, excuse me, take a read of reviews, have a look around. Yeah, a lot of people buy off aesthetics and it does the job and ticks the boxes off the basic mech need list, like it's a 510 or it's got a magnet button or whatever. Read the reviews or what have you, and before you purchase that mod, because you want to know your bits and pieces. So if it's a spring or a magnet button, have a look, even if it's just Googling images of taking shit apart and looking at the hardware itself. When you get that mod, you decide on which one you like. When you get it and it arrives, take your shit apart so you know how to put it back together when you're cleaning it. Not all of us do this, sure. Like I say, some of us are lazy vapors or less motivated on the cleanliness side of vapors. Don't have time, you know, lots of reasons. We're all different types of vapors, you know, like I say. But if you do take it apart, if you are going to go, shit, I've never done that, maybe I should, and I wonder how my vape will change if I do that, and you will notice a difference. You actually will, because microscopic, and once it starts getting really visual, then you know that there's a good build-up. So there's microscopic dirt, machine oils, your hand oils, all of it is what's building up in your threads, in your button, all the bits and pieces, all that stuff floating around, particles. that contact where those metals, okay, I'm going to pick a copper mod. My V-guide here in my hand, this is a copper mod. This is also an internal magnet button. I'm not going to pull mine apart right this second because I'm vaping on it, but how are you going there with your little ensemble there, Megan? Just to show people those inside bits of where a button might contact or where that magnet sits or the spring or something, where to clean effectively, I guess. Maybe we're getting too technical, but I actually think this bit's really important because a lot of people don't know what they're cleaning. Even if it looks metal, clean it, but you know, it's so important. If you've got a bad memory or you don't know what you're looking for, take a photo of your button and every little step. If you're going to take it apart and you're not quite sure, take photos on your phone so you know how to reverse that steps and put it back together. Some of them it is easy, just like clean all the metal bits. Anything metal, clean it because it's going to connect. Get that cotton bud.
Yeah, I mean, one of the taking apart is like my
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, the top part and the firing button, I've taken those both off. So I kind of had showed this earlier. So they've got the, come on, focus. Yeah, so this is the top of my Nemesis. That one's pretty good considering that it's the first mod that I owned. I tend to look after my gear as best as I can, so that they last longer because I want them to last. And then the firing button, this one is also in pretty good nick as well. So just wait for it to focus. So this part here is what is going to come into contact with the battery. So I want to keep that clean as well. So yeah, that's still pretty good nick as well. Now, Cam, I might have to do a bit of work on the mod that you gave me. Just a little. Because on the ARIA standard, there is a little piece that attaches directly to the neck end of your battery. And that's this piece here, once I've got it focused. Look at that. That's grubby in my eyes.
Yeah, that I would call that grubby too, honey.
And that's the other side there.
You see, you wouldn't see that detail on my camera.
I guess comes into contact with yeah. Then you can give that piece a clean. But the actual button itself, it's not too bad either. So I let that focus and readjust. Pretty good.
All right, where do we want to go from
here? Yeah, I mean, I could break.
Oh,
I could break down like the Nemesis firing button down a bit. Yeah, it's pretty much the negative connection or the connection that comes into contact with the battery, the insulator, and the housing underneath it that holds the batteries into place. So yeah, so you clean all of that. The threads, so the threads even on my Nemesis are pretty good. I tend to try and keep everything, all parts of it, so that they're freely moving and that there's not going to be, isn't going to be any jamming of any sort. Like Nemesis in particular has this locking ring that goes at the bottom, and that, because I haven't used this for a while, it's actually oiling up. I might have to get in touch with Cam and ask him what he uses to keep the threads nice and smooth, because yeah, that locking ring is a little bit janky now. When I first got it, it was awesome. Nice and smooth, didn't get stuck. It was great. So I might have to see what product that Cameron uses on his, because when he sent me the ARIA standard, the threads on it were, my God, they are so smooth. So smooth. Like there's no catching whatsoever. You don't hear it. And it just goes on so clean. So it's like, yeah, I like that.
Can I just interrupt you there, Megan? I just want to throw a shout out, and hang on, I gotta put my mod down, put my button on. Big love, big shout out love to Wayne out there in our chat box. Wayne Black is our old manager over on the Trove Live Network, where our Ohm Kiwis show started out on at the beginning of this year. So and the old boss is out in the chat box. Hey Wayne, I love your work, honey. Great to see you. It's been a while. Hope you're well, darling.
It has been a while.
Okay, so cleaning buttons. Yep. All right. Next,
Yeah.
let's move. Let's move along. What's shall we hit next? What's on your list, darling? Hang on, I haven't looked at my list.
Batteries. The batteries.
Hang on, I'm just. Oh, actually, hang on. Just on the locking rings, I just spotted something on my wee list there. Just before we move on to the batteries, because we know that conversation is going to go on for a wee while. So hang on, just.
I kind of thought we'd keep it just brief. Hey, just see this guy.
Oh, okay, we can do that, but you know, it always gets elaborated. Hang on, I had a thought in mind. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so like Megan was just showing you before with her nemesis, and I showed you before with my tree of life locking ring. Not everybody likes a locking ring. There's different styled button without locking ring. You know, there's many types of mods out there in every shape or form. We know this. So this one is just a normal. Now I hope you can see that all right. It's spinning. That's just a normal righty-tighty, lefty-loosey locking ring. That one. Not all of my mods have them. My labyrinth does not. My labyrinth is an internal button, whereas that one, obviously, it stands on its button. That stands on its button too, but it's slightly recessed, so obviously it doesn't fire when it's standing up on it. The timekeeper, oh, there's the button. That one unscrews. So that's sort of like its own button locking ring in itself. That's also a righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. The V-guard is an internal press, slightly recessed from the bottom so it can stand upright. So there's no locking ring on that one. My unicorn. Now, apologies, because I know there's a few of the boys out there. So I just say it now. Apologies. It's not as dirty as it was. Can I just say that? It is filthy. I know this. I'm aware of this. I hate to think what my threads and contacts look like inside this right now because I haven't used it in a while. But I did give it a quick wipe down, and it's not as filthy as it was. My unicorn. Apologies, please. I know there'll be shock horror for some OCD out there. Yes, this is a copper mod, which is why it has oxidized like this. So there's another. Oops, tissue out of the way. That's where's the unicorn? There it is. There's another thing to keep in mind. If you like a copper tube because of that beautiful color when it's clean, if you pick copper for your mod, there's maintenance and just that alone, keeping that pretty shiny that everybody likes. That's dull. So we call that natural patinaing. There's forced chemical patinaing as well, where people patina the exterior. But that's natural patinaing off your hands and general oils in the air and use and holding it. So reason why I'm showing you guys this one, this is an external protruding locking ring. Now, again, apologies because I don't have the flash camera with the amazing focus, but I hope you can see that all the way around. Oh, there we go, that's better angle. My locking ring protrudes. And there's also a reverse locking ring. So that's not a righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So that, there we go. spins, and this is a spring button. So yeah, just wanted to make note on that difference, because sometimes people don't even think about a locking ring, or notice if it has one, or you know, you get locked up. Excuse me, lost, not locked up, lost in the excitement of buying new toy, new pretty shiny. So, and like I say, always review a mod as well, because you want to know if those buttons are faulty in that line, if somebody's had a particular issue with it, because it does blah. And yeah, I know it's a metal tube with simple contacts, but there can always be something go wrong with something. And because these are effectively to put it really crass, and we don't like the reference being made, but in the wrong hands with stupid people who don't do battery safety right, and cleanliness and looking after their shit and knowing what they're doing, effectively Mech mods can be pipe bombs in the wrong hands. And that's what we don't want to hear about. That's why we're doing a show like today with all of the technical blah and bits of info, so that you guys don't end up one of those statistics and a horror story on the news that nobody wants to read about. Nobody wants to have that experience, because that's not a fun time. Alright, so yeah, I branched into locking rings, so alright, on to batteries. Start your spiel, Megs. I don't know what you've got written there, honey.
I was just pretty much going to touch on exactly what the boys said, to kind of of maintaining your batteries. So you want your battery racks obviously to be untorn. If you have like a tear, see like the guys when they were showing up their batteries, like was it Tom had rewrapped his? I have one here that actually does need to be. It's not an absolute shock horror condition, but it's one that I haven't used until I actually rewrap it. It has a nick like at the bottom, to around at the bottom of the battery. Oh, it focused for like a second. At the bottom there, like a nick at the bottom. It needs to be rewrapped. And I think I've got like a couple, like this one's looking pretty scary up the top as well, being a bit worn, and it's almost kind of coming away from the little insulated piece at the top. So that one's that one, and I think the one that's paired with it is looking to be rewrapped. So yeah, you want to ensure that you've got no tears or anything in your battery wrap. If you do, for God's sakes, rewrap it if you can. If you can't, replace it.
Yeah, rewrap it, or put it aside until you can rewrap it. Because if it's still a good battery, like if you haven't had it very long, but like batteries, okay, so there's sometimes a misnomer that batteries tearing or getting nicked is from wear and tear. Yes, from wear and tear externally. It doesn't necessarily mean, because you might not have had that set of batteries very long, and suddenly like, oh my god, it's gotten torn in a mod. That's actually the biggest thing, is wear and tear of taking bats in and out of the mods, and the mods themselves are what bat around the external. But that's why they're there, to protect the battery, because obviously that's the external. So I've got a couple of batteries here exactly reiterating what Megan was just saying, that I've put aside to rewrap, and they are not in my current rotation, but they're still good batteries, so I'm not going to throw them out. I'm just not using them right now. And ever, so this is the easiest answer, and I asked this one to Mooch as well, if ever in doubt and you feel like you need to ask because you're not sure of the status of it, if you have any hesitation on your safety and feel like you have to ask, then just rewrap it anyway. Sure, some tears are worse than others, some nicks are worse than others. If you can see silver, then there's always going to be a bad time. Don't use it. But yeah, if you feel like you have to ask, and I did ask Mooch, I held up a battery and I was like, do you think this needs to be rewrapped? That is one of his most common questions, to be quite honest. One of. And that was his response to me. If you feel you need to ask, if you doubt your safety, if you are apprehensive on any level about that battery, don't use it, rewrap it. just do it. So again, apologies for my shit focusing, but you will see there that this battery has several nicks around the edging. Yes, this is my negative end, and that is blatant silver battery visual on those nicks. There's several there, they are quite bad. That actually happened on one incident taking my battery out of a mod. So that wasn't over time and I used that and that got several. That was one incident where I was in a hurry and being reckless, careless, took my bats out in a hurry, and I did that damage to my own wrap, pulling the batteries out of the mod. So, albeit any nicks, hang on.
What was that?
Sorry?
Which model was that?
My Cobra, actually. Instead of I hadn't. Some mods have the ribbon to pull the battery out. I hadn't done my ribbon right to just pop them out, and it was trapped under them, so I had to do the slam my mod against my hand to pop them out. And my battery slot on my Cobra is quite tight, much like my Tesla, albeit my Tesla's a newer mod. And yeah, that force of donking them out of the mod is what did that. So in that same incident, on the other battery in that pair, so my Cobra is a series mod also, so they were, you know, series, in series configuration, blah. So on the other one is just a wee sort of, hang on, trying to get my angle right, there we go, a shma on the positive end. Now that's more of oh, you can see silver there. There is actual break in the wrap, but at a quick glance, that was just more of a ripple type. It's grabbed it, like you just saw it just there on the end. It's grabbed it and pulled it up. But any tearing on the positive end is going to be more dangerous. You do not want any other metal contacting. You don't want any metal visible on the side. You don't want any metal visible on the ends. If that metal of the battery contacts on the internal of your tube mod, copper more so than others, but any metal mod, all of them, that electricity is going to go through your mod and it's going to short out, and the battery could vent depending on what's gone wrong and how long you fired it, if it's auto fired. Lots of things can happen. The shit you don't want to go wrong equals rewrap your batteries. There we go. That wound up my spiel. The shit you do not want to go wrong. Right, I'm going to stick a battery in this one now. Right, load up my timekeeper. Okay, how are we going out there in chat? Are we like connecting with chat? Can you guys hear us? Are we coming through okay? Are we making sense out there? Do you guys have any questions of things that you would like us to cover if we haven't already? I mean, we're not done just yet, but yeah, well, have we not said something information-wise that you would like to know about, or you feel, this is the other side of it, for those out there in live, and there are a few people hanging out even though our stream is coming through quite shit. Is there any information that you feel would be pertinent to have in this video, in this replay for people watching, whether they be new Mech users or older and advanced Mech users? Of course, hang on, I need to touch on this now that I just said that out of my mouth. And I'm sure you can elaborate on this too, Megan. If you are in Mechs, then you are learning Ohm's law. You are learning about battery safety. Please know your amperage ratings of your batteries and build safely to your battery ratings. So that branches into obviously the builds that you're building. If you don't build, if you buy pre-made coils, for example, and put them in, like you buy, I'm going to pick it out of the Squid Do coils, and you put them in your goon, just because I'm looking at my Squid Do coils in my goon. Yeah, if you're one of those people, but you don't build, but you're you are running those sorts of builds quite capable for Mech mods, then please with that build, your resistance, know what your battery ratings are, know what your Mech can handle, your bats can handle for that Mech. Sorry, I said that sentence wrong. Feel free to jump in here and elaborate, Megan. I need to put a battery on this. Yeah, I mean, both of those are really big subjects, but they all need to be touched on. They all need to be said. You should be doing your research first and foremost if you're branching into this realm. Don't rely on shows like this telling you everything as well.
There's the dude coils, for instance. I personally do not run elaborate builds on a Mech, especially like dude coils, or even like whenever I make aliens myself, I don't run those on Mech mods. There's just so much wire for the battery to try and sort of push any voltage up through it. The ramp up time is just crazy. It's not even worth it. Any extravagant builds, which is normally why whenever every time I appear on the show, you can guarantee that the majority of the time I am using a regulated device is because of those elaborate builds. They're more suited for the regulated devices. A DNA 200, for example, the regulated ones just handle those builds a whole lot better than a Mech. For the Mechs, I'd allow macro coils, or as I would probably get with a Mech, especially like a 2, would be I wouldn't go any more elaborate than that. I mean, I don't get an enjoyable enough vape out of those elaborate builds on a tube mod than I would on my regulated device. So it's just yeah.
And that's quite often the difference.
And because I tend to,
it's quite often the difference why people vape different things. You know, we're all different types of vapor, and a lot of people just prefer regulated because they get a specific type of vape they enjoy that Mechs don't give them, or for a daily at least, it's not the vape they're looking for that the Mech provides. So everybody's a different vapor, eh?
Yeah. They're not. I mean, I tend to be using my aliens because I like the flavor. But yeah, I will never run like any of my aliens on a Mech device. I mean, even if I was just doing just a single coil, it's just I find that I get a much more enjoyable vape from that build on a regulated device. But yeah, I mean, you've got the likes of M Turk, for instance. His one pops out in my head because he actually has a disclaimer on his website stating that his builds or his aliens are better suited for regulated devices. And I mean, when I get into doing mine, I'll pretty much be doing the same thing, especially for like the aliens, because I found that they're more suited for the regulated devices, and especially because they come out quite low as well. So I want to sort of put it out there that yeah, you can buy it at your own description, but it's on a regulated device.
There's some good comments and questions going on out here in our chat.
Yeah, you got to build it. Oh yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Anything happening there?
I think a few certain batteries do need to be touched on, and I do have MOOCH's current, latest, whichever the right word, current works, battery rating chart as well that I can put up on the screen. But that's always being updated, and people need to keep an eye on MOOCH and his postings at ECF and on Facebook also with his current ratings, testings going on, new products coming out.
Postings are so important though, because he also tells you like what the amp ratings are, which is particularly important, especially when you're using ohms. If you've got a particular battery that ohms out to just 20, then you can do the formula that will allow you to find out what resistance you need to that battery.
Okay, so I'm just about to put up on screen. If you want to have a wee little scroll about a couple of things out there in chat, I'm going to put Mooch's chart up, the current one that I just mentioned, and we can discuss specifically why the brown Pulogs, as they're known, I don't like that name, but that's what they're known, why the brown battery shouldn't be used in a Mech, because I think this is a common misnomer. It is often for regulated devices. So you won't necessarily be able to read the ratings on the image, guys, that I'm about to put up, but this is what the chart looks like, so that you guys can go to that ECF forum of Mooch's and you know what the chart is that you're looking for, and always keep an eye on that date, because he dates every chart, so you know if it's a current one that he is standing by. And the current date on this one is the 17th of September. I'm actually expecting him to put out a new one very soon, by the end of the year, I hope. Because there's been some more tests going on that he's been up to. So out there up on the screen very shortly for you guys, it's on my screen now, is between me and Megan's faces is Mooch's battery, recommended batteries chart is what it is called. And so these are bats that, oh excuse me, the most common brands, I think. It's not all of them that are out there by any means. The most common brands that he's tested time and time again and against each other and done the 1,000,001 awesome things that Moochie does for this community. These are his recommended, the top of the line, based on his testings and findings, not advertising, marketed, manufacturing, we say it's this type scenario. So that is based on product testing, is that the way to say it? So yeah, okay. Do you want to jump in here, Megan? Because it is a common misnomer. Being the, let's say this right, because I can't see the image myself. 3000 mAh battery that the which one is it? Oh my god, I just totally blanked. The LG HG2 is who I'm talking about. Do you agree with this, first and foremost? Because it is always everyone's going to have their own different view about, oh, I believe this, or I do this, or I use this, so I know from my experience, but it goes against the flow of information. You know, like everybody's different with their batteries. Some people like to be a little bit cowboy, gung-ho, what have you. I don't know. Megan, do you agree with this, first and foremost?
What was the question? Am I supposed to like agree or disagree with?
I realised as I was saying that, I should have repeated it. That the brown Pulogs, the brown battery, should not be recommended for a Mech because of their amperage rating. Oh, you glitched on me then. I don't know what you said.
It's a 20 amp battery, isn't it? I mean, for me, I use the Sony VTC4s in my Mechs because they're so readily available in New Zealand, and the rating on them is, yeah, I think the Mooch has rated them as a I find that those ones are probably the safer bet to use, especially if you're purchasing batteries here in the country, because a lot of the vendors have them, they stock them. I recently had made a purchase of some more VTC4s from Vaporium. They had like a pretty awesome deal on, which I think is still running. So the VTC4s were $6.50 per battery. And this is like New Zealand dollars, guys. So I had to jump in on that. So I bought 10 of them.
Okay, so I'm looking at his chart. So the manufactured rating on the Pulog, on the LG HG2, the brown battery, the manufactured rating is 28. MOOCH rates it at 18. So I personally, for safety's sake, wouldn't recommend by MOOCH's standards. And yeah, cool, we know MOOCH, he's a cool mate. Like, I trust his work. I go by his ratings, and I wouldn't personally recommend anything under a 20 amp battery at MOOCH's ratings for any mech mods. So MOOCH has rated this one at an 18, manufacturer at 20. So I personally like to go off MOOCH, and that's really why I brought it up. Why I say that, because with its 3,000 mAh, its longevity of battery life is more consistently what's the word I want? Suited to rig mods and the workhorse and the daily and that longer battery life, consistent grind, you know. Whereas a battery for your mech mods, you want something that's it's gonna obviously have shorter battery life. It's mech, it's full blast battery life contact, so you want full power. 25 Samsung 25 hours, VTC4s, VTC5A. MOOCH doesn't so much recommend the 5, but the 5A. So, like I say, okay, just to branch off this, because I can keep going on about batteries for ages. That conversation will always go on and on and on. Research. Keep an eye on MOOCH on ECF forum. That's the e-cigarette forum. Go and find them on Facebook. Put battery MOOCH into Google search. I think I've got one of his links down in the description, but I will add the ECF forum link as well if I don't have it there already. Follow him, keep an eye on him, because if you are interested or just want to know more information and be more informed, researching and doing, you know, good information for yourself and your own safety, then keep an eye on him, follow him, look at his ratings, keep an eye on his testings, what he's up to, and if in doubt, ask, what's a good, I have this mech, I'm learning, what's a good battery to start out with for this product, for this device, you know, ask, reach out. Don't be that silly guy that uses the wrong product and it goes wrong because you didn't research or ask and learn. So, you know, just, and it comes back to that same advocating line, whether it be just about the cause and what vaping is. It's also about our safety and sharing good information amongst our vape family. So you're informing, you're educating, and you're advocating at the same time, obviously, but informing and educating, that applies for all of us. It's just not those outside our vape family and those who don't know about vaping as a health concept. That line for me is very prevalent within our community and helping each other learn, especially in the hobbyist level community. I should say that the advanced vaping, you know, and helping each other learn and grow and be safe in our vaping endeavors. So, where should we go from there, honey? That was a good battery ramble. But yeah, always, if in doubt, ask.
Try and cover a little bit of Ohm's law, maybe.
Hang on, I was just thinking, where's our list at? So yeah, I will stick in the description.
Ohm's hard to cover because it's so.
It is. It really is.
It's such an extensive thing.
Okay, hang on. Before we jump into Ohm's law, because this actually,
I mean, there's
what's relevant for all types of mechs. I think we should cover the other boxes and stuff first before going into Ohm's law, because it's relevant across the board. Different types of mechs. So we got parallel and series box mods as well. Oh, what was that? You glitched on me again. Yeah, I've got another image.
There's like quite a bit of information that goes into.
Okay, well, I think it needs to be touched on because people instantly think a tube unless said otherwise, or you're known to be a box mod only type of person. The general assumption is Mech mod in your head is a visual of a single 18650 tube, which isn't correct. Because there are parallel and series box mods as well, and they also can be Mech mods. Not everything is configured with some sort of regulation or potentiometer. And there's raw Mech, and then there's slightly safer Mech, which has a MOSFET in it as well. We're not going to go into, hang on, hard out electrical current and circuitry, because if that's your jam, then you'll already know that or be looking into it yourself anyway, because that's a really big topic on electronic learning, effectively, electronic componentry learning. So I'm going to stick another picture up on the screen between me and Megan's face, so just placing it. And you guys might have seen it before. It's just a picture that's out there on Google, roaming around the internet, and I've put it up on our Ohm Kiwis page before as well. And there we go, it should be appearing in a minute. And it's just a real simple breakdown. Like, I like this picture because it's, and I'm putting these things up on the screen because it's good to learn off visual. Not everybody learns the same way. So this is, hang on, I'm going to also open it on my desktop so I can see it larger. So it's a basic breakdown of the three types of Mech mods that are out there. And then obviously any mod with larger battery configurations like triple or quad, I'm not even going to go beyond that. They're all like just greater, larger made circuitry configurations of series or parallel. We can have parallel series, you know, like you can combine them together to get the right circuitry for the bigger or higher power, the more voltage, the more batteries in the configuration. So these are just the basic three, the bottom of the line that everybody hangs on to. Which mod have you got in front of you right now, Mex? You got your, which one of your boxes there? Hold up a visual. Hang on, which one have I got here? I've got my cherry bomber right here. That's a good visual. So, three different types of Mechs. And I personally think that if you're going to get into boxes, obviously mechanical boxes, we're not talking about rigs, whole different topic, then you should sort of have an idea what's going on. Because they are just like a tube, I think, but obviously elaborate. There's more contact. There's a second battery. No, this is where you really need to get into Ohm's law. So if you aren't already learning it for just single tube mods and building, but you want to look into box mods and what have you, this is where you really need to be learning Ohm's law, like definite, because you want to know what your builds and your resistance are to work with your batteries for your mod's performance, which is effectively just a simple breakdown at the bottom of this chart of those voltage ratings and amperages. In my hand, right? Can you see YouTube, Megan? Can you see the picture up on the screen?
I can't. I don't have it running.
Okay,
so I don't have the feed running.
Yeah. Okay, which box have you got in your hand? You want to do a show and tell? Which box is in your hand right now?
My PWM series.
Okay, so open it, and you want to, so the picture is on screen between our two heads, and you want to hold your mod up to the curtain side of your camera, seeing as you can't see YouTube. Yep. Yeah, no, you're good. That's good visual. Yeah, Yeah, the curtain side is effectively what's visual. So my cherry bomber, I'll just jump into this. This is a parallel. Mine is a parallel, and that is a raw Mech box. You can see there. There is nothing but straight copper contact off those batteries to the bottom of that 510. And then that button connects straight copper contact. Sorry about the non-focus, guys. Straight copper contact into the back of that 510. So what you can't see there is just the little insert that I've removed just to hold that up so it didn't fall out, of the copper contacts that go to the batteries that sit in there like that. So a lot of people don't like this mod for several reasons, because it is raw Mech and because you have to screw in your batteries. So I have to unscrew the bats, which tighten those two contacts to that raw copper contact parallel double the power connection. So that's a parallel Mech box mod. Megan's one that she is about to hold up, her PWM series box, is the configuration, just like the word series, the batteries are in the S. So parallel is like two lines together, they're side by side, positives and negatives are the same direction, which will always be positive to the top, and series is in the S. So one up, one down. That's the way I remember it anyway, the S, which is, I think, a good thing. So there we go. Megan is holding up her Drippin' Dolls box mod, which we've talked about a few times, and you can see some wiring and things in there because yes, she has got LEDs and she has got a PWM chip in it, which is a pulse modulation, pulse width modulation chip. I'm not going to go into that, and if you're an advanced user looking at PWMs, then you'll already be looking into that info yourself. That is by no means beginner level stuff. That's a whole other topic. So okay, so yeah, I'm just going to keep that real basic, because this branches into Ohm's law, obviously, about. Yeah, I've got another parallel. So this one's slightly different as well in its layout. There's no MOSFET in there. That one's got a proper battery sled in this one. There's my button. Oops. No MOSFET though. That's still a type of direct contact. Parallel Mech. So it's my GMM box. Clear much. Tesla Invader 3. People know that one. That one's been out a while. That's a series. Noisy Cricket. Everybody knows the Noisy Cricket. So you want to be getting into learning, definitely, your Ohm's law if you're going to get into these mechs. So everybody likes a series box because it has good power, it puts out big clouds, it's a raw type of mech, you know, and so there's a degree of regulation, obviously, with the potentiometer, and it's got a, what is it called, a safety cutoff feature that can turn it off. So, you know, like full mechs don't have those safety features. That's what makes them mech. There is no extras. These are like semi-mechanical. But Noisy Cricket, that's a straight raw mech series. Scares the shit out of a lot of people. I have a Noisy Cricket. I can't actually get to it to show you guys right at the second. The monitor's sitting on top of the box that it's in. And a lot of people end up getting one as their first mech, and they so shouldn't. Oh, there we go. That's a Noisy Cricket. So basically, where Megan's fingers are on the top is one side is button and one side is a cap that locks the other battery in. So that's raw, straight series, direct metal contact, hybrid contact to the batteries. That's where you want to be building above 0.3, 0.35 and up in your ohms, so you can only sub ohm down to like, and I'm just saying a good safety region. So you know, you look at those charts and you can go down a bit lower, or if you're a bit of a risk taker with your vaping, you can pull it down a little bit lower with your building. But if you want to stay safe and learn safely and build safely and get used to your gear and learn about your devices that you have in your collection that you're vaping on as well, then build safely. So yeah, I think that needed to be said because it all rolls into Ohm's law, Megs. So are you going to screen share your triangle?
Yeah, I got this from a website.
Okay, I just got to be aware to shift things around on the screen for your screen share. We should be good to go. So Megan's got a couple of images as well. Oh, here we go. So let's,
I kind of figured that I would just share this one because it's a basic image of it without getting too in depth with it or too confusing.
okay, hang on. I've got part of the screen missing. Oh, there we go. Hang on. So I'm just resizing us on the screen. Keep talking. I'm just resizing us. So it's visible. It's up on our screen.
Yeah. So just there, it's a basic triangle of like the Ohm's law and the formulas used to get your, I guess, like to work out like your voltage, your resistance, and your current or your amp split for your devices, especially when you're using mechanical mods. I find myself often, whenever I'm using my mechanical mods, that I am trying to work out what resistance that I need to build in order to use it safely. And sometimes I'm also working out like the wattage part as well, but that's something that goes even further into Ohm's law. But yeah, so this is kind of like your basic one. So with working out your resistance, you just getting the voltage of your battery and you're dividing that by your current or your amps of your battery. And that will give you the minimum resistance that you can build safely for your battery when you do that formula. And yeah, it's just so useful to have. So that one particular formula one is the one that I tend to use the most. So if you know what your battery's amp limit is, and you divide it by its voltage, and then it'll tell you what your safe resistance thing is. That's the one I use the most. But when you've become a bit more familiar with it, and then you kind of play around with the other formulas on there, such as working out your voltage or your amps, it becomes something that you end up playing around with. And it's like, oh, okay, then so if I've got like this resistance and I with my voltage that I'm running on my device, how many amps am I pulling? Oh, okay, that's telling me that. It's a really useful tool to have, but it definitely pays to be familiar with these three formulas on there. So like working out your voltage is your amp limit times by your resistance, and you'll get your voltage.
Awesome. I actually really like this chart. I've enlarged it. It's like right up there on the screen. So it's going to be a good one on the replay because you can draw this little triangle, like write down this formula, put it on a bit of paper, put it up on your build station by your computer, wherever all your vape gear and stuff is, or put it in a notebook you leave with your build gear, whatever. Because it's a great little visual tool, this one. A simple formula in the visual concept. Yeah, I like this pick. So there's a children's like physics. Hey?
Yeah, this image came from a YouTube video. That's how I got it. It explains Ohm's law like really well. What I'll do is I'll find the video and I'll send the link through to Mox and she'll add it into our description.
Oh,
so
yes.
if you haven't seen the video, definitely have a look. It breaks it down like really well, and I found it like it was a really good video to watch, and it was able to explain it like really well.
Cool, that's awesome. Yeah, we will add that in. I was just going to say that there's a link that I refer to all the time, that I use all the time, and it says it's a kids link in the titling of the URL, but it's actually like college, like just after high school physics type website. And it's got things simply laid out, like broken down in layman terms, and it's got a little visual formula with the triangle like this as well, which is great. And I give people that link quite often and use that one because it's simple to understand without technical. Right, Megan, are you still screen sharing? Without getting lost in technical jargon, and I will put that link down in our description. Oh my god, I'll say all of them as well. Hang on, I'm gonna rearrange us out on the screen again. Yeah, I will put that all down in the description later on as well, and people can have a look. And if you're already an advanced user, obviously you're going to know Ohm's law, or you've got your own little tricks with these formulas written down, your own links that you go to that you know, relearn your own info on, or refer back to, I should say. If you're building, if you're using mechs, if you're playing with batteries, if you this is raw electricity, you know, these are currents. This is these are devices. You know, this isn't like rolling a cigarette and having an organic matted thing just burn up in your fingers. These are, yes, albeit a healthier alternative for that organic matter. However, please be safe in your use of said devices. Know what you're getting into. Please know what you're getting into. Research it, learn. Mech mods, mech safety is not a joke. It's not about being... I hear this one a lot, or sorry, see it typed in the Facebook groups a lot about people being overly nannerish, you know, being grandpa strict rule pants, you know, all these sort of stupid childish type insults. And yes, I do see them, silly ones like that, because you know, that childish retort back to somebody saying information or giving information or making a statement about that person learning information, and that's that other person's insult defense mode because they haven't learned or they don't know, or, you know, they're reactory. So just please, just like, it's not nannerish, it's not too adult, it's not too serious, it's safety for you guys. So go and learn it, inform yourselves. Inform, educate, advocate. Alright, darling. Where to next? What haven't we covered? Where's our list at? We've covered a bit of everything, I think.
I think so as well. I think we covered like the types of mech mods, maintenance of them. When it didn't go full on in battery safety, which is
oh, there are two other things I just spotted that we haven't vented. Vented. Mentioned was that word that should have been. Okay, so one of them, battery venting. Battery orientation in your mech, in your single tube mech. I think this is a good one to bring out. There are a couple of things on that list that we haven't mentioned actually. 26650 mods is one of them, which is the larger, fatter battery to an 18650. All these things we've said today, including battery rating, safety, all of it, everything applies to the 26650 mods as well. If you're getting in, and just a side note off that, if you're getting into box mods that have LiPo batteries, that's a whole different equation again, so you want to be doing research down that road too. But that's predominantly getting more into high powered regulated devices that have screens and chips that run them and what have you. So that's just breaking down into those other different mods also. So battery venting. If a battery goes wrong, if something's going to go up the wizzy, something's shorted out, shit's going to go haywire, that's what it is called when the battery vents, and it's going to get hot, make sound, gases will come out. Sometimes it can go into thermal runaway mode. That sounds scary. It can be a big bang, sometimes not. It's scary nonetheless. That's what you do not want. That is the no-go, big red. You don't want this to happen. So there are, or should be, some sort of venting holes in most of your mods. Some sort, somewhere, should be. And this isn't the case across the board, but there are those modders that put holes in their tubes. Sorry, I've just found leakage on the top of underneath my gurn under my RDA. They will add venting holes into their mods if that is a safety feature that they have added. Now I'm just pulled my timekeeper apart because I found that juice under my gurn. So this is a perfect example of, these are the vent holes on my timekeeper, which happen to be part of the button section at the bottom. Now, the timekeeper is a perfect one for discussion about battery orientation, because, and this also comes down to, if you're an advanced vapor, having your preferences, and whether you're a risk taker or whether or not you just play things safe across the board. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Megan, are you still there? Because you're frozen on my screen. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Okay, sweet. Just checking. So it's up to your preference. Everybody's different. Everybody vapes differently. So quite often some people will say, because the vent holes are at the bottom on the button, positive down to the vent, to the hole, sorry, so that if something goes wrong, the battery will always vent out of the positive end. And the venting holes being at the base of the mod on the button end, positive down to the vent holes. That's not across the board. Not everybody does that. That's not necessarily a thing. But some people have that mindset of how they like to vape with their tubes, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as you are safe and informed and know what you are doing. I've had this conversation with many friends about exactly this. So, you know, everybody will vape differently, and you can know all the information and be informed and all of that and still choose to take a risk, and that's entirely up to you, but be informed in doing so. So my V-God, which is over there, is slightly different again in that I don't need to take this one apart. My vent holes, they've put them down the side of the tube. So it's sort of, I'm just saying on the norm for a tube mod, battery configuration is positive up to the bottom of your RDA. That's the norm. That's why I say that there is sometimes controversy with vent holes being on the button at the base. But I actually quite like this, the vent holes down the entire thing. So this is not one that I would have any inclination to put positive down because there aren't vent holes on the button end. So just as a point of clarification, and again, everybody vapes differently. It does come down to preference sometimes. And there's another one. Okay, so they're both AV products, but there's my A-ball, my cotton candy, also vent holes on the button end. But in saying that, both that I've just shown you, the Timekeeper and the Able are both AV products. So being the same manufacturer, I would expect those products to be similar across the board as well. Do you have any thoughts on venting and battery orientation, Megan?
No, I pretty much agree. I mean, like my Able phone, I put the battery in that positive down as well because those vent holes are at the bottom. Simply because like I've mentioned, like when a battery vents, it vents from it vents from the top or from the positive end. So it makes sense that if your battery is going to vent, that you want that end closest to your vent holes. My Nemesis, the vent holes are at the top of the mod, so the positive end goes up. But yeah. I can't think of anything else that I could possibly add to that. There, I'll just agree.
Cool. No, that's all good as long as I'm not forgetting things. I mean, I know I ramble, but in my rambling and tangenting, I don't want to forget the valid information that it needs to be said as well. So just while you were talking then, I'm just having a wee scroll back through chat because I am aware. Love you all, you know we do, but being such a full topic and I've got lots of bits and pieces in front of me, we are paying a little bit less attention to chat than usual. So we love you all. I can see lots of names out there. What up to Van? Another one of our Kiwi boys in the house. You don't get to come hang with us often, honey. Loves to you. Niji, I see quite a few of you out there, those that I haven't said hey to. So there's a few comments and questions going on out there, just things that we haven't necessarily forgotten or we have, and would be good to have information in the replay for this, Megan. Yeti mentioned maybe we could break down what is an ohm reader and why would you need one?
Yes. That has always created like a wee bit of a debate. The ohm reader. I've always been a strong believer in owning an ohm meter, especially if you're building your own coils. So like I've got the Coil Master 521 tab, and I use that whenever I'm building my coils. The reason why I say that there's usually like a debate, people always say that if you have a regulated device that works just as well as any, I've found that not all regulated devices are all that accurate. Just trying to think of one like right off the top of my head. A snow wolf, for instance, doesn't give the same ohm reading as my ohm meter does. It's not horribly off, but it's off enough to that if you were to put it on another device that was accurate and turned out to be too low for it, then yeah, you're running into issues, especially if your regulated device or the ohm meter on your regulated device isn't 100% accurate. So yeah, I always turn to my ohm meter.
Where's mine? So as opposed to the 521 tab, which is a slightly more expensive flasher device that you can fire on yours, can't you?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a flasher device for the more elaborate builders. I have the Coil Master cheapy version of that, just this little guy, and it has obviously two different types of connection on it, and it's just got a little switch down the side, which I think it's just an AA battery I've got in the back of it, and it reads the 510. So this is a cool little thing. However, mine is about a year old now, and I push down on it quite a bit because I use this as my build station, and we'll have the Addy on here when I'm building. So it doesn't read accurately anymore because I pushed down on that 510 a lot. I've actually damaged it, so I don't take any accuracy off that whatsoever. However, I've got my cuboid and my Cobra, and between the two of them, although they might read a half point, I have to think what way to say that, a half point difference or something. If they're in the ballpark of each other, then I can ballpark that build, as opposed to just relying on one regulated mod to tell me what that build is. And not everybody will have more than one, or even although I'd like to hope, a regulated device to use like that. If you're building, you always want to know what your build is. If you're building your own coils, if you're playing with Mech in any way, shape or form, you better know what your resistance is. That's why you need an ohm reader. Don't rely on a regulated mod. Even if it's just a little cheapy thing like that, that you can compare your regulated device to. like I say, an average out between them. So if maybe one's reading 0.13 and the other one's reading 0.15, then average it out and go, okay, this build's a 0.14, you know. Don't rely on one electronic device to teach. You just don't know that it's accurate, or the calibration of its accuracy is more how I should say that. It's a recommended part of your build kit. There we go. That's a good way to say it, Yeti. And, you know, after a while, when you're building the same builds over and over and you know what that one's going to come out at because you've built that specific build over and over again, then that's sweet as, you know, that's you getting into a flow with your building and knowing that that one build that you like to do is going to always come out at blah. That's all good. That's G. But on the general, when you're playing around, when you're learning, when you're beginning, starting out, or even just have as part of your collection because you know you've got one there when you do need it. Yeah, I recommend everybody should have an ohm reader. It doesn't have to be expensive either, but you know, you, much like anything, you will always get the quality you are paying for. So if you're buying a cheap Chinese product, don't expect it to be 100% accurate or last for very long. So, you know, be real about the quality of something you're buying as well.
So like you, I also have like that little Coil Master ohm reader. It came with my DIY kit, so
yeah, I knew you
I
had
had
one, but
that
I
and I
didn't
was using
upgrade.
that for a bit. Yeah, well, I hadn't even anticipated actually upgrading until I found that a vendor would actually had them in stock. So I was like, oh, I've always wanted one of those. I'm gonna get it.
Cool, what else have I missed out here? So is there anything else? I missed that, sorry honey, I was talking over you.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, is there anything else that you guys out there in chat, I realize that there is a bit of delay to what we're saying to what you guys are hearing, but is there something you'd like us to elaborate on that we may have touched on earlier if you've been hanging out in live chat and struggling through the stream? Or is there something we haven't touched on that we've forgotten about and you feel is information that needs to be in a Mech information video? Throw it out there in chat, we'll chuck it in, we'll touch on it. You know, of course, many directions of everything that we have mentioned today could be elaborated on for longer, far greater in many spiels and rambles. There is so much information out there, especially when it comes to electronics, especially when it comes to batteries, especially when it comes to devices and products that are across the world in many shapes and forms. You know, this is by no means the be all and end all. These are not just Megan and myself's own opinions about the way we vape and how we vape as vapors, our style. This is information we've collaborated and we hope we have shared it correctly. If there's something we've said that we've also stated wrong, please let us know, because obviously when you're getting into technical information, we want to be sharing the right stuff to keep us all safe. You know, we rely on our community to moderate each other, and we all have the same information available to us on the technical side of things. So obviously when we're verbally relaying something to others that might not know that information and they're learning from you, we want to make sure that info is correct. So let us know if there's something we've missed, something we've said that may be wrong, or something we could elaborate on that you think would be great to have here. And I'm sure in the future we'll do another Mech vid as well, just the same as in the future coming up next year we're going to do another video with Moochie and catch up where batteries are at, his testings and charts and things at a later point in time, and just update from that show we did with him a few months back. So we have been rambling for a little while now, Megan. We're not quite at 2 hours, but that stream is struggling out there. We'll ramble for a little bit longer and make sure we've got all the info we need in this. And yeah, we can wrap it up soon. I just want to make sure that we've covered everything all in one video, or majority, you know, whatever we can.
no, that's fine. I think we basically covered as much as we can with the amount of time that we have.
Oh, I've got a good question. This is a me question from me to you.
Okay.
Okay, so we all know people build different types of coil builds for a different type of vape, correct?
Correct.
So, and that when I say a different type of vape, you know, you could be flavor orientated, you could be cloud orientated, you know, different types of vaping. So, I'm asking this on behalf of newbies, beginners, new learnings, you know, people getting the info. If I had a regulated mod and I started vaping on a regulated mod and I didn't know anything about Mechs or why, but I build on my regulated mods, I build coils in my tanks, or I have an RDA on my rig. Why would I try a Mech mod? What advantages or different type of vape do you think, so this is me asking you, Megan, your thoughts, your opinion, why do you think someone should try the Mech mod vaping experience? Not necessarily that it's for everybody, but, you know, like if you were telling somebody about the difference between regulated and Mechs, what do you think, how would you explain it? That Mech vape, that Mech experience, yeah, it's always going to be build dependent. You know, that one is so validly right there, part of that equation. However, so we just imagine a basic bitch build. It's nothing elaborate, not an alien, not even a Clapton. It's a basic bitch build in that Mech. You hand someone a Mech and you're explaining to them the different type of vape experience they might receive. What are you going to say to them?
Oh gosh. Oh man, for me, like, oh, that is so interesting. It's not necessarily a vape experience per se. It's more like, I guess, like for me, like to the Mech, using a Mech mod, it's more, it requires more thinking to it. Because like with Mech mods, like everything that we're covering today, so you have to do your research. You've got to know your battery safety. You've got to know your Ohm's law. Going into a Mech requires more thinking. Regulated devices don't require any thinking whatsoever. It's much like driving, for instance. So it's like driving a manual. That's what a Mech mod is. It's like driving a manual.
That's a really good analogy.
Regulated device.
Yeah.
That's how I put it at.
That's a really good analogy. And that's a great one that a lot of people can relate to. In my head, I understand that, you know, no matter what sort of technical vapor or not that they might be. And in my head, that is something I can relate to. Regulated mod is the automatic that I have to do minimal to except drive it. Mech mod is the manual where I have to think about it and know what's going on. Beyond the road rules, of course, because that's valid for both of them. Yeah, I like that, Megan. Yeah. So actually, Lemmy made a good one out there. I'm just gonna. Sorry, what?
That's my take on like regulated versus unregulated.
I like that. That was a good answer.
It's just your way of thinking.
That was a good answer.
In terms of like a vape, everyone's vaping experience is completely different. I mean, I'm not going to turn around and say that you'll get a different vaping experience from using a regulated to a Mech. But yeah, like it's the experience itself.
So I was just in the chat box. He goes, sorry, not Yeti, and Niji. Yeti was just above Niji. Mechs equal a smoother vape. Again, personally, my opinion, I think that would be build dependent and also juice dependent with that nic level for a smooth vape. But I do understand, you know, the difference between regulated and Mech. And also, you know, like, if you were telling somebody about the difference between regulated and Mech, what do you think someone should try a Mech mod vaping experience? Not necessarily a vape experience per se, but, you know, like if you were telling somebody about the difference between regulated and Mech, what do you think someone should try a Mech mod vaping experience?
Sorry, what?
the Mech with that raw power, even if you're using your rig at high wattage, the Mech with that raw battery contact, I do understand what you're saying with that smooth vape, Niji. It's like a more satisfying vape experience is how I put it. Like how some people describe having a cigar compared to a cigarette. And maybe not all of us as ex-smokers ever tried a cigar, but that's a comparison that I actually would make. I do like your car analogy though. That's really good in regard to the devices themselves. I'm just going to jump back a bit there a sec.
Susan, I'm not the only one.
Totally, yeah.
So yeah, it works.
Yeah, totally. I'm just going to jump back and forth a sec here, Megan, to make sure we've got all the good bits of info and stuff. So let me put another one out there. Oh, hang on. I'm just going to find it to reread it and make sure I say it right now. So now that I want to say it, I've gone and lost it. Oh, okay. So something that needed to be mentioned, and again, it branches into building. And again, if you're getting into coil building, then we'd like to hope you're doing your research about Ohm's law and resistance and all your electricity that you are playing with those wires for that conducting. He just made a statement about maybe mention how dual coils in your RDA will split your resistance. So yeah, again, valid for building side of things and knowing your amperage with that battery, your resistance, what you're vaping at and stuff. So and I think it's a valid point because not everybody will vape a dual coil. You know, we do have a lot of solid single coil Mech vapors out there. I'm not sure really what we can elaborate on it, except that's something that I guess you learn in your research and that you should be aware of. And again, branching into the building and learning about your building, and again with the Ohm's law, and another reason to have an Ohm reader as well, I think, personally. Yeah, because if you're getting into it new and you've always done a single coil, or like if you've built coils in your tanks with RBA decks or something like that, but you've always done a single coil for that type scenario, yeah, just being aware that getting more elaborate in your building or even basic bitch builds on a Mech, you're obviously splitting the resistance, but that's relevant for any mod. That's just not a Mech thing. That's relevant for any mod. So that's, I guess, just backing up Ohm's law of resistance, knowing what the hell you're doing. Research, inform, educate.
Need to add research in there.
Okay, research, inform, educate. Does that work better? Advocate. There we go. So I just made it into 4. Oh, actually, that is something I've seen mentioned out in the chat a couple of times. I just spotted Rob's comment about batteries. If you're going to get into Mechs and you want to carry around your Mech as a daily, there's several things to be aware of. And yes, you can
need to carry a lot of.
You're going to have to carry a lot of batteries. And yes, you can put a tank on your Mechs, you know, because it comes down to that build and that battery resistance. So there's no reason, and I've had that question asked, that's why I mentioned it. There's no reason why you can't put a tank on your Mech at all. So just to clarify that one little thing there, you're going to have to carry a shitload of batteries. If you've picked a Mech with a locking ring, make sure it's locked before you put it on the table, put it in your handbag, put it in your pocket. See, these are the things. This is why safety is paramount. Actually, this brings me to the last thing, and I think it's a good thing to wind up on, actually, because it's valid as much for Mechs as it is for batteries across any of our devices, and that's caring for your batteries. If you're going to put your Mech in your pocket, then just be aware of what else is in your pocket. If you're going to put a battery in your pocket, then you better store that correctly in a case for your safety.
There we go, Mox, I got it.
In your pocket. Oh, we both got them. And we've all got different ones. See, okay, so these are the different types of cases available in New Zealand right now. So Megan's holding out one where they've got a Vaporium sticker on it that has a positive and negative charge flat on the sticker, so that you can turn your batteries upside down in the case and you know which one's which, so when you get home you can go and charge them. This particular case is from Vapor. This particular one I got off Vapers. So these are different types of battery cases. This silicone one, this is a cheapie. Both this one and the type that Megan held up, a couple bucks from any of our vendors in New Zealand. Care for your batteries safely. If you're
I have one of these.
Oh yes,
I don't carry this in my pocket.
There's the big multiple ones as well. So if you're going to put your mix in your pocket, you want to be aware of what type of button you got. You don't want to auto fire in your pocket. If you've got a, hang on, pick up my V-God. If you've got a push button on the bottom like that, that's not one you want to put in your pocket, because your button might get pushed. You know, just a little bit of common sense is also paramount for safety. And people might be out there going, you don't need to say that. Like, what the fuck? It's like, dude, we need to say this shit. Like, actual. These things, they aren't just for storing here at home, you know, or handbag or backpack or what have you. Put your battery in that in your pocket. You do not want to lose battery against keys, against coins, that metal touching. It's gonna be a bad time. Hang on, I've got another I've got another little quick picture. Actually, there's two here, but which one shall I pick? Actually, I could possibly do both of them. So it's just safety. Safety goes across all of it. Really, common sense goes across all of it. Really, you know, like yeah. If you're gonna get into mix and you're gonna use it as your daily, then you want to think of those options. How many bats am I going to carry around? My battery, a full charged VTC4, will last me 2 hours chain vaping on a Mech, if I'm lucky. 2 hours, if I'm lucky. But I do chain vape, and I'm aware of my vaping habits and styles, so I counteract how many batteries I carry for that device I'm using at that time. It's raw battery power. You're going to drain those bats faster because you're producing more vapor. It's giving you more through your device. I'm just trying to think. So separate of carrying around juice and all the little bits you might have with you normally, you're going to need far more batteries. Personally, and again this is an opinion, Megan might have a different one, I'm not sure, I don't use my Mechs out and about, out of the house. Yeah, I use them as dailies at home. Because of that travel aspect. Because I don't use tanks on mine, I use RDAs, so you know, the lying down aspect, leaking out of holes, what have you. That's not good for a handbag. I'm also really precious with a few of my gears, and I don't just chuck Mechs in a handbag anyway, because they'll get scratched, and I don't want that. And I'm a girl, I don't have a lot of pockets, so there's another thing. You know, Mech is not just a device you can just put down over there or something. You always want or nearby, or I don't know, maybe that's just me. That could just be me. Hang on, I'm adding this picture to the screen. So, is there anything you want to add about that last little bit here? Hang on, perfect visual coming up. And that also has a couple of other points on it about heat with batteries as well. So this one's covering both our faces, but it's in the middle of the screen right now.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can like add, I mean, in the beginning, because I started with Mech once, I used to take it out with me, but it also meant carrying extra batteries. Nowadays, because I have a mixture of mechanical and regulated devices, more often than not, if I'm going out and about, I will have a regulated device with me. Vape meets in particular, I'm using a regulated device. The only time where I'd actually been out with a Mech was when I stopped in at one of the B&M's in Auckland before our Auckland Vape Day, and I also used it on one of our shows when I was in Auckland before our Vape Day. And that was purely because I knew that I was going to be in a very small space and I didn't need to worry about transporting it around all over the place. And yeah, I mean, other than that, it's like I hardly ever go out with my Mech mods now, mainly for safety reasons, because in case I happen to forget to lock it, and I either put it down somewhere and then it starts to fire or whatever, or if I popped it into like either my pocket or a bag or something like that, I kind of want to avoid any mishaps. I had a near call at one point when I had taken my Mech out, and it was purely because I got distracted by someone that I'd bumped into and popped my mod into my pocket, forgetting to lock it, and I could hear it firing and trying to pull it out of my pocket. It was oh my god moment, and yeah, it wasn't a nice feeling.
Yeah, auto firing in pockets is a big one. I'm a personal fan of buttons with locking rings, or a button like this that on the TK, the button itself is the locking ring. You know, it's an all-in-one. I'm a big fan of mechs like that. But, and like I just said before, I don't put them in pockets. Pockets is a bad time, and it's easy for me to say. I know all guys use their pockets a lot. Pockets is where things go, but it's like I say, and again, personal opinion about not using mechs as an out and about daily. At home daily, sure, but again, that's personal. Not everybody is that jam. Quite a few people are a bit of rough and tumble with their mods, and that's all G, and they have found something that works as their daily out and about it. Sweet. If you find what works for you, awesome. Just know your info and be safe along the way. You know, like, again, everything that we say is our opinion. We're not telling you what to do. Everybody vapes different. There's so many styles of vapor. These are just our experiences and ways that we might do certain things. So that picture I had up on the screen while Megan was talking was just a sort of a battery type storage care image. Obviously I left it there for a little while she was talking, and I just see it coming up on YouTube right now actually. So it's talking about, it's got cases, how to store it, positive and negative, heat, the heat of what your battery can handle, not storing batteries in your car, let alone loose in your car where they can get heated up because your car gets closed up when it's locked up. Don't keep batteries in direct sunlight, or you know, there's just a bit of a common sense image, which again, like I said earlier, common sense reminders shouldn't need to be, but I guess that's why they're reminders. They do need to be for some people, said that is. So yeah, battery safety, knowing batteries, knowing builds, knowing Ohm's law, knowing about your device, cleaning your device, looking after your device. You give it some love, you show it some love, you treat it with a bit of respect, and she'll be good to you. She'll show you some love in return, in the form of vapor clouds. Hopefully your cloud production, depending on your build. But I don't know what's coming up on the screen here because my laptop's at a funny angle to me right this second, but I love the clouds that these coils put out. Right now on my purple gun, I've got my squid doing coils. Just show them off for 2 seconds. I need to change my cotton, I know, but those coils are so pretty. Yeah, okay, Megs, I think we sort of covered it all, haven't we? I think so.
I think so.
Just a side note, for Ohm's law, separate of those links we've talked about, separate of those images you can find on Google, there are plenty of apps available on Google Play and things, the Apple Store, for Ohm's law help. when you're core building and apps, calculators, core building calculators and OHM's law apps that can help you out. And yeah, they might be cheating or a lazier way to do things, but when you're learning, they're a great tool for assistance once you start actually really knowing your information that you're learning, not just reciting it or reading it, actually knowing it and living it with your vaping experience. So I'm just having a quick
Yeah, like, I engine a lot.
Which one? Steam engine?
Yeah, I use that quite a bit. I have come across like a few or a couple of other really good ones, but yeah, Steam Engine is my go-to. When I'm on my phone, I've got Vape Tool, I think is what it's called.
I've got one called Vapers. I've got one called Vapers Toolbox, as well as the Steam Engine app on my phone. Okay, so if you feel we have covered everything, we've gone longer than normal. The stream's gone up and down, but what's new? We know the info will be there in the replay. We've got heaps of people hanging with us out in chat. That's awesome. Big loves to all of you. It's so much vape fam, like there is global vape fam out there, which is great because with daylight savings ending over in the US, there's we're on earlier over there now for this time slot at least. The new year might be a bit different, but yeah, so there's more people able to hang out because we're screening a little bit earlier over there. Thank you for putting up with our up and down stream once again for those of you that are chilling.
Thank you.
I'm trying to go over everything in my head. I don't want to have forgotten something and then in the feed and go, ah.
I think we're good.
Okay, Megan, you want to do your wrap up spiel, honey? Let's yeah, start winding this up. I think we'll end at 7.
Cool. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and dealing with our glitchiness and yeah, our connection issues. I'm kind of surprised that it actually went as well as it did, especially considering that MOX is considerably closer to our little earthquake hub at the moment. But yeah, I can be found on Instagram. I'm Ohm Kiwi, and on a Facebook page, so it's Ohm Kiwi Coils. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks for joining me once again, Megan. Okay.
No problem. I'm sorry that last week sickness.
That's all good, honey. Your health comes first. And for such an important show with so much information that we've covered today, yes, I could have done the show without you. But I won't do the show without you because we both have valid information to share, especially with such technical info and information and knowledge that we both have value in sharing. So I mean, a couple of people said to me, "Why don't you just stream anyway?" I could have, and I acknowledged that. However, we're Batman and Robin. I won't do the show without Megan, and her information in her head, her knowledge is invaluable anyway. So for such an important show, I wouldn't do it without her. We love all you guys globally. Thank you for your support continually, always. Thank you so much for the 1,000,001 messages from so many of you across the globe, not just in the US and in Canada, with messages of concern, hoping we're okay with the earthquakes, sending love and good vibes, positive energies, all that. Albeit that me and Megan and I aren't in the epicenter. The earthquakes are still continuing. They're going in waves with lessening, backing off, and then they'll have another run of good rumbles. Yesterday and the day before were one of those. But it's still going. We're just going to carry on now. Hopefully there aren't any more big bangers that really rock our world again, but the little wiggles are still definitely having a party. So next week on the show will be the 5th of December here, Monday the 5th of December, so it'll be Sunday the 4th for you guys out there elsewhere in the world. That will be the show the day after my birthday. My birthday is on the Sunday the 4th, and I'll probably be very hungover, so I'll warn you all now. We will be doing the show. I will be here, but it could be a little bit worse for wear, so apologies in advance. I don't know what state I will get into, but I am having a party over the weekend, so just putting it out there. We're also doing a giveaway next week, so we haven't done one for a wee while. We haven't done a juice review, and I had a sponsor and one of our local NZ vendors to chat about in a wee while, so I thought I'd do that again, and we have a giveaway of the entire range, 6 flavours from NS Vapes, North Shore Vapes here in Auckland, New Zealand, to give away to one lucky winner, and we will talk about that and do that giveaway information and all of that, hashtag how you enter, all of that. That is next week, and then the following week, the 12th, Monday the 12th here, so that'll be Sunday the 11th for you guys elsewhere. That's our last show for the year, and that will be the show we are drawing the giveaway on. So that's the plan for the next couple of weeks, guys. We are ending the show a little bit earlier than the end of the year because we've got family travelling from out of town, and we're both doing travel things and Christmas and fams and whānau and all the what have you, so we're going to wind it up early so that we can get that all happening, and then my music festival season kicks in with New Year's as well. So we've got 2 more shows left for the year, and then we will be off screen, off air for about a month, about 4 or 5 weeks. But we'll talk about that closer to the end of the year and let you guys know exactly when we'll be back. Love you all. You guys know where to find me. Put my name out there in Google and I will come up all over the damn place. If you want to chat to me, interact with me regularly, either find me on Facebook, I'm around under my real name, or if you just want to like have a quick comment here and there, come follow me on Instagram. I want more followers, please. I'd like to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. That'd be awesome for me. That's my little Instagram goal. I've got a whole lot of new photos and all these things with my builds I've been doing to chuck up over the next couple of days as well. So there'll be some more posts coming out. So love you all. You know where to find us. All our links down in the description. We're going to chuck a couple more down there. Moochie's link, battery links, Ohm's Law links. We will make sure that we have got all the bits and pieces down there for you guys that we've talked about so that you can stay informed. Research, inform, educate, advocate. Love you guys. We're going to have a quick vape and we're outie. And we'll see you next week. Oh yeah, them clouds. Love that. Yeah, everybody just revel in awe at Megan's awesome clouds she has there with that Drippin' Dolls box of hers. Sorry, that's not even. That's the Limitless in your hand. That's the Limitless in your hand. And that was my bad vision. Totally. Hang on, I just got to redraw it. We're still live, honey.
It's okay. I'm a bit matchy with my box.
I just saw that actually when I realised it was the Limitless. It's matchy. Oh, I didn't show it off today. We are still recording, by the way. But I didn't show it off today. But I'm repping Vaporium, our New Zealand Vaporium. 2nd anniversary t-shirt today. People don't see me wear this one.
Same.
You got that one on underneath too? Oh, fuck yeah. Awesome. Alrighty. Right. Yay! Alright. These clouds. Love you guys. And, yeah, watch the replay if you want to learn some info. I hope we have talked about and shared the information that you're looking for. And, yeah. Vape on. Love you guys.